last year it was Nicky Wilson who won the championship by just 5 points from Josh Wainwright, though in fairness to Josh, he did miss the whole round at Pembrey, so he'll be regretting that, that's for sure. Jack Croucher not racing anymore this year. He finished third last year, and away we go then. Who's going to hook up nicely? Draper's away well, but I think Wainwright might be a little bit stronger on that Honda as we go down to the first corner for the first time of asking. And yep, that's Wainwright out in front of Draper. Who's that in third? Is that like Simon
the
or
tall,
Halliday?
The tall figure of George Halliday.
Indeed,
number 144 there in the all white. That's the Stanford Halliday Racing Yamaha R1 for George Halliday. Looking, as we mentioned, we spoke to one of his crew team earlier on today.
Yes, we did.
He's going to be doing the TT on an R6 and also that R1. So fair play to George Halliday. Still in his early 20s is George, and having a good
one to watch in
weekend
the
so
future.
far. Absolutely. That's Sam Osborne, Nicky Wilson just behind him. Callum Manley up into 6th place ahead of Alex Simon in 7th as they make their way in towards Agostini's for the first time of asking. Stephen Butterworth there is also in the mix as well. That, of course, will be a retro battle between Stephen Butterworth and Alex Simon. Pete Baker behind Stephen Butterworth. Then it's Kraviecki, Tyler Donovan up next. Then it's Aaron Monk. But Josh Wainwright on the JWMOT Centre Honda leads Draper, who leads Halliday from Osborne, and Nicky Wilson, your reigning MRO Powerbike champion, there inside the top 5.
Champion of Snetterton as well, of course. He got that last year after Josh unfortunately made a slight error at the start, a little bit of a jump start, but Josh took it on the chin. Rules is rules, as we all know. We were discussing that. We heard of a disqualification from Pembrey, somebody 200 grams over the weight limit. They should have left a can of Coke sitting on their tank, as you suggested. That would have made all the difference, unfortunately. And we go back to Guy Martin, of course, losing out on a TT win by going 0.2 of a kilometre over the limit. Yeah. And to give you a rough idea of what that stretches out to, 0.2 of a kilometre, where you walk at about 5 kilometres an hour. So imagine doing one 20-50 or walking.
50 times slower than walking speed.
Yeah.
The MRO Powerbikes, and it's Josh Wainwright looking to stretch out his advantage over Stephen Draper. So it's a Honda. And then it's...
look at that battle for third, mate. That's where the argument is.
That's Halliday going up the inside of Osborne. Osborne, who was third across the line there, but Halliday goes from 5th to 3rd with that one foul swoop up towards Wilson's. They go then. And it is still Halliday on that Stanford Halliday Racing R1 in 3rd place. So watching them come down now in towards Palmer's. Wainwright, bike number 26, with a 1.5 second advantage at the end of the opening lap then. Stephen Draper up next on the Kawasaki. As you mentioned, the lap record holder at this circuit on the rookie 600 class. Then it's Sam Osborne, Halliday and Nicky Wilson in 3rd, 4th and 5th. So it's an MSG Racing Suzuki ahead of the Stanford Halliday Yamaha, and then the Team NWR Suzuki for Nicky Wilson. It sounds as though we have a faller somewhere around the circuit there. Up at Wilson, so I can see the rider is up and okay. Marshals are tending to rider and machine, but always good to report that the rider is up and okay. It looks like just the one bike involved in that one, so unfortunately for that rider, that is their race done. But the race leaders now round Williams and onto the Bentley Straight, of course, formerly the Revit Straight here at Snetterton, but now the Bentley Straight. Under the bridge they will go. There goes the Fireblade of Josh Wainwright. There goes the ZX-10 of Stephen Draper. Sam Osborne and Nicky Wilson now 3rd and 4th ahead of Halliday, who's dropped from 3rd down to 5th place in the opening half of this second lap. Then, of course, this will be the first of the flying lap, so we'll get a really good idea as to who has the pace. Looks like Alex Simon there has dropped the position on Pete Baker, the local rider Pete Baker, in what is his final season here, but it won't be
allegedly. I believe that when I don't see him turn up at Brands Hatch next year. I'm sure Pete's retired many times over the years, and 65-year-old, of course. Alex Simon made up 6 places on that particular lap. The man who went backwards is Barry Mantell, the local man. He went back by 5 places as well. James Fern made up 13, so this time by 3 tenths of a second.
Now ahead of Sam Osborne. So Battle of the Suzuki's, at least anyway, is Nicky Wilson now ahead of Sam Osborne. Across the line it was 6 tenths of a second.
Unfortunately, that rider we lost over there is Pete Scott. Unfortunately, it's Pete Scott who's taken a tumble down there. We did see the rider up and okay, so the Pete Scott fan club better get the kettle on, because I think a cup of tea is going to be needed very shortly indeed, unfortunately. But he's the one who didn't trip the timing beam across the back there, and as everybody now makes their way across the line, Pete unfortunately is languishing at the back of the field ahead of the non-starters at the moment, so it's a great shame for him, but hopefully we'll be seeing him out a little bit later as he retires his retro machine. Talking about the retros, it is Alex Simon who leads Steve Butterworth, so this could be a bit of a championship battle going on there between these two, because it is Wainwright who, big surprise, is comfortably leading the MRO Powerbikes by 66 points coming into this round. Steve Butterworth, though, he actually had a huge gap of 83 points over Jamie Thomas and 87 points over Dan Mercer as well. So Butterworth very much the man to beat in the Clubmans, and also he's got a good gap over Jamie Thomas in the Retros as well. So the Retros, a new class for this year. So there will be some lap records to sort out, as well as the Super Twins, of course. So I'll have to get my pen and paper and calculator out and work out who's going to get some awards for that a little bit later.
We'll just have a look further down the order there. It's good to see number 7 of Seb Jenkins back out there in the MRO Powerbikes. Yep. Of course, he is a former champion with ourselves here in 2019. He was a rookie 1000 champion on a Yamaha R1. And unfortunately, he lobbed it at round 1 of 2020. Did himself a bit of damage, and the bike a bit of damage as well, to say the very least. But we have seen him out more recently in the Thunderbike Ultras on a GSX-R1000, but he's back with his old faithful Yamaha R1, and it's good to see Seb back out on circuit. Not at the best of times away from the racetrack, but like I say, it's always good to see Seb out on track and having fun. But George Halliday now ahead of Sam Osborne was that as they come across the line there. So it is Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki inside the top 6. Then it's Pete Baker ahead of Steve Butterworth, now ahead of Alex Simon by 1.9 seconds for the Retros, but that's Retro Clubman and Retro National. David Kraviecki in 10th place, 7th place in class, then it's Tyler Donovan, Aaron Collins, Barry Mantell, James Vincer, Dan Mercer, Ben Cheeseman. James Fern is running around in 4th place in the Retro Clubmans, 17th place overall at this stage for the number 102 of James Fern. But we've got great battles all the way down the circuit, but the race leaders are making the way in towards Hamilton's. I say the race leader is Josh Wainwright.
Yeah, not plural, is it, mate? Yeah.
Absolutely. Steve Draper through Hamilton's now there. The battle we really need to watch here is that one for 3rd place. Nicky Wilson's, in fact, stretched open his advantage over George Halliday. But there's also a good battle just coming through Hamilton's now there. It's would you believe it? It's Callum Manley and Pete Baker. It's the apprentice and the master.
Absolutely, yeah. They're good friends. They live locally and quite near each other as well. And Pete Baker took Callum under his wing when Callum was a rookie 600 rider last year. And of course, he was our rookie 600 champion. So if you're going to have somebody in your team, having Pete Baker inside your tent looking out is definitely a good person to have on board, isn't it? Because no lack of experience, knowledge, and of course multiple championships and race wins over the years. Another former Milano champion winner, of course, Pete Baker. And he was our rider of the day at Brands Hatch. Just the speed the man showed is just, remarkable. He's 65 years old, 65 years young in his case. He really knows how to turn it on. And Halliday struggles to keep his knee off the flipping deck, doesn't he? He's only got to lean that bike over by 2 degrees, and his lanky legs will do the rest, basically. So they go through down to Wilson's there for the last time in this particular race. The leader is already up to Agostini's. There's Draper struggling. So tell you what, Wilson is actually going very quick. I wonder if he's looking for a silver medal. Let's have a quick look. Last lap times there. Yeah, 55.5 for Wilson, 56.5 for Draper. Gap between them is 1.2 seconds, mate. So let's keep an eye on that battle, because I do wonder if Nicky Wilson, as I say, he is the reigning champion of Snetterton. I think he's probably a little bit too far back, and Steve Draper doesn't look like he's giving up on this one, but you do wonder if he just rolls out of it a little bit early, doesn't AJ, as it were. There might be a bit of a change of the results along the way. I can see that David Kraviecki chasing after Alex Simon. Yep, 1 lap to go for everybody.
Let's just have a look there as well for that battle between Osborne and Halliday. And I think Halliday in 4th place now. He's got a bit of daylight between himself and Sam Osborne, the man behind. So that would be 4th and 5th. But having a look for Callum Manley and Pete Baker then, 2 riders from Kings Lynn. I think Pete Baker from West Winch and Callum Manley from Snetterton. Not too far away, as you mentioned then, as the race leader of Josh Wainwright makes his way in towards Murray's for the final time. And Steve Draper and Nicky Wilson's right there with him, but not close enough, I don't believe there, Keith.
No, I don't think he is going to be either, actually. I think Nicky Wilson's just that little bit too far behind. Certainly Josh Wainwright is too far away from anybody. Here goes Steve Draper over the line. Yep, it does indeed. Wilson closes the gap right down on the last lap. Comes across the line. Draper comes across the line 5 seconds or so behind Wainwright there. 0.3 of a second then it is to Wilson, who does a PB on the last lap. Does a 54.987. But Josh Wainwright, 53.6, takes the fastest lap of the race.
Speaking of PB, Pete Baker got the better of Callum Manley for 6th place there. So Pete Baker, Callum Manley, and then Stephen Butterworth is 6th, 7th and 8th. But of course, with that, Callum Manley will take 25 points in the Clubman Championship. That's the Sigma Racing Clubman 1000 Championship for Callum Manley. Butterworth, Simon, Kraviecki, Collins, Mantell, Donovan, Mercer all across the line.